Hey, it's your girl, the Northern Belle, Andrea Joyce. I want to thank you for tuning in each and every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock for Straight Talk with Andrea Joyce on Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free, no charge to you at all. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. They even distribute your podcast at all the different sites like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Plenty of more too. You can make money from your podcast and you don't even have to have a minimum listenership. Listen, it's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So do me a favor. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. You won't be disappointed. Welcome to Wednesday, Straight Talk with Andrea Joyce this evening. I'm so glad you're here for the ride. This week, I want to talk a little bit about relationships. I won't hold you long. We've been speaking, friends of mine and I, about different relationships and different expectations and just different things. So I just wanted to share with you some things that were on my mind and in my heart. And definitely send me a message and let me know your thoughts. I would love to respond to them on the next episode. So relationships. We all realize that relationships have changed. I'm in the mature age now. I guess I'm an adult. Not an older adult yet. I'm an adult, a grown-up, grown. And things are different in relationships, it seems, now in 2021 than relationships were back in the 90s, in the early 2000s when we were younger. And I remember looking at relationships when I was young, wanting to be in a relationship because I did not like the idea of dating. I did not like the idea of dating, especially as I got older and especially moving here to Atlanta, where it seems people were more interested in dating multiple people than getting to know one person as we did when we were, in our teens and early young adult ages, college age, that way. And so it was really interesting to me for me to look at the idea of relationships now, pre-COVID, because we know a lot has changed with COVID and we're still not back to normal. So I'm not even going to go into what 2020 and 2021's dating looked like, because we saw a lot of online dating, a lot of over the internet dating, FaceTiming, having dinner, watching each other, talking to each other over our phones or laptops or iPads or that. So we're not going to go into that. But for me, I moved to Atlanta the first time when I was 24. I had a young daughter. She was 2 when we moved here. And I was very particular about not having a lot of people around my child. I was not interested in doing that. And so I wanted to be in a steady relationship. At the time, I had gone through a separation and was working on my divorce from her father. And I really wanted something that was adult and grown up. The relationships that were around me I saw a lot of people who were dating exclusively, who were in monogamous relationships, and that's what I wanted. So I dated someone for a few years, a lot more than a couple of years. We did not wind up getting married, which was, after being together for some time, was one of my expectations and was the thing that I wanted. I wanted to be married to this person, but it didn't work out like that. And I found myself getting the bell. You know how they say that your timer is going when you want another child. I found my timer going off, but it wasn't for having another child. It was actually being married. I wanted to be a wife. I wanted to, and this is before I had a relationship with God. I was getting to know him, but this is before I really was reading the Bible and taking minister and training classes, before I knew what the word said, about promiscuity or sex before marriage and all of that. I really didn't have an idea yet. I just wanted to be a wife because I wanted the safety and security of being with one person. I wasn't somebody who wanted to sleep with 25, 30, 50, 100 guys. That didn't appeal to me. And I wanted to be able to know, hey, every night I go to bed with this man and I wake up with this man. That was my intent and intention for getting married. And it would be a huge blessing if I was in love with him. I had to love him, but the in love part would be the huge blessing. And so I, at the age of 5, said one of my goals was to be married by the age of 25. From 5 years old, it was watching all of the Disney cartoons, the happily ever afters. I wanted that life. And I'm going to be honest with you, I wanted that life for a long time into my adulthood. I was after that happily ever after. That was in my mind. You meet someone, you fall in love, you marry, you have children. That's how I wanted things to happen. Unfortunately for me, it did not happen that way. It still was my goal to be a married woman. It was still what I wanted for myself, and I wanted my children to have two parents that loved each other, that were in love with each other, and we had this idealistic relationship where we didn't have problems, we didn't have arguments, we didn't have issues, we just were happy, 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 happy all the time. Okay, that did not go away, I told you, until later in adult life. So in the 90s, first I was in New Jersey, and then I was in Atlanta. Dating and being in relationships, I saw a lot of monogamy. Now, yes, there was infidelity sometimes, unfortunately. There was some cheating. However, everybody seemed to be booed up. Everybody was in a relationship and getting married and engaged. And so I saw a lot of relationships, and that's what I wanted. When my relationship, my 7-year relationship, didn't work out, I was desperate. My heart was broken. I had put all of this in my feelings, and I wasn't good enough to marry. So I was going through, feeling like I wasn't really worthy of love, because surely if I had given all I had to give and it still didn't end in marriage, then I wasn't worth marriage. And I said the next person I met, I was going to marry. It didn't matter. Be careful of what you say and be careful of what you do, because I did wind up getting married soon after my breakup. I was still in love with my 7-year relationship person and marrying somebody else. And we're not going to go into the details of it. It just, my marriage did not work out from before I do. And so when I found myself back in New Jersey, separated with not one but 3 children now, 2 by my husband that I was separated from, I was trying to put my life back together. And I wound up in a relationship that was beautiful and wonderful, but I found out it was a lie. The person who I was in a relationship with was actually with somebody else. And so now we have all these hurts that are just piling up and piling up and piling up on top of each other. And God finally sat me down, because now I have a relationship with him. I know what the Bible says. I know what the expectation is. God and I have had conversation back and forth or whatever. And I was devastated. And he sat me down and had me heal. So from 2008 until 2016, I was not in a relationship. About 2014, I got the itch. I need to be with somebody. I've given my all to God. And I moved back to Atlanta in 2009. I've given my all to God. I've been flirting with people. Nothing works out. Every time I like somebody, they just disappear. So now I'm like, okay, God, listen, I got it. I had to heal. I had to become myself. I had to have a relationship with you. So now I want a relationship. I want to date. And so someone who had been in my life previously entered back into my life. And I was like, surely this is a sign of God. I prayed, and someone who I trust implicitly is back, and we're going to make it. It's going to be wonderful. Well, everything was great, except his feelings for me weren't as deep as my feelings for him were. So then I had another heartbreak in 2014, and I'm just like, you got to be kidding me that again I'm getting heartbroken, and I've done everything I was supposed to do, and why isn't it working? And so at that point, I decided to do something new. I decided I was going to try online dating. And I got a wake-up call about how things were done in 2015, how things were done online, how things were done in Atlanta. I was meeting very interesting people online, and they had some very interesting ideas about what they wanted from a dating site. It was funny to me because there were people on the dating site looking for girlfriends who had wives. They were not separated. They were not divorced. They were living with their wives, but they wanted a side chick. And so they're on the site where it's about love and marriage, but you're already married, boo. But they were looking for a side option. And so it was very interesting to me. It wasn't interesting at the time. At the time I was frustrated because I was like, why are you on here? Then, the world started opening up to me, and I saw people who wanted to add to their relationships where they had a wife or significant other who was ready to explore a third party. I saw where there were people who were interested in S&M and BDSM and wanting a dominant person just to beat them or whatever for a little while, but not a relationship. I was meeting all kinds of people, and I'm not judging them, but for a woman who wanted marriage, it became more and more frustrating. The people that were coming into my circle that I was meeting, online, not in person, but online. And so then, a few years passed, and this was the behavior. And I was in a dating group on one of the social media sites, and we were talking about the different experiences we had. And one of the gentlemen told me, he was like, well, Andrea, you got to realize at this point, I believe this was 2018 or 2017. You have to realize your ideals are different than what's going on in the world. Right now, nobody is looking for that old school love where you're with each other forever and you're each other's best friend. You want an old school love in a new school situation. And he was like, good luck with that you still want the doors opened, you still want flowers, you still want the chocolates, you still want the romance. He was like, this is 2017. We're not into that stuff now. Now we're into who's paying for dinner. Are you paying? Did you invite me? Because that means you're going to pay. I'm not pulling out your chair. Why don't you pull mine out? And I'm just sitting here like, are you kidding me right now? And I said to him, and it was a whole group. We're all talking. And I guess I was the voice for the women because there were a lot of shocked women, just like I was shocked. And I was like, so you mean to tell me that if you call me and say, hey, I want to hang out, let's go have dinner, you come pick me up or whatever. I was like, we've been in the game for a little bit. We've been kicking it for a while. This is not just our first date. I was like, you wouldn't give me just because rose, tulip, peony, nothing? And he was like, no. And I was like, and so then we get to dinner, and he was like, it depends on how we feel in each other. We might go Dutch. I said, on a date that you asked me to? I said, absolutely not. And then it became a discussion where guys were talking, and they were saying, well, here in Atlanta, it is very difficult to want to settle down because we have so many options. So I asked the question, and I still ask that question today because it's interesting. How do you effectively date someone and get to know someone when you're dating 3, 4, or 5 other people? I've often wondered the answer to that question. How can you effectively get to know someone when you have multiple people that you're getting to know? The reason why I asked that is because in the group where we were talking, the gentleman said that he was trying to find which person would be best in his life. He was at the time dating 3 people, and I'm just going to be transparent. He wanted to make me number 4. First of all, anyone who knows me knows I don't like sharing. I don't. It's nothing that interests me. So it was really hilarious when he said it. I really hope he was joking, but we're still friends. However, no, not number 4. So my question became, at this point, when you want to add me to your entourage, to your harem, how would you get to know me when you have 3 other people that you're getting to know at the same time? Information that I would give you while we were on dates or talking on the phone would blend into the information the other 3 women would be giving you. And he said he really hadn't thought about it like that. So I gave him, you know how I do, a scenario. And I said to him, you're going out with me. No, I didn't even want to put me into the conversation. But I gave him names. I said, you're going out with Jan. You're going out with Sue. You're going out with Lee. And you're going out with Tony. Now, you take Jan out on a date on Monday. And Jan tells you her birthday is April 30th. You go out with Sue on Thursday. She tells you her birthday is May 2nd. You go out with Lee, and Lee tells you her birthday is August 5th. You go out with Tony, and she tells you her birthday is October 19th. Just from that, what do you remember about the conversation? And he looked at me, and he said, well, I know they have birthdays. Ah, ha, ha, ha. It wasn't funny. I said, but if you want to see which woman blends well into your life, which woman would heighten you, would bring you up, will mesh with you, you mesh with, you two meld together well, these are things that you have to know. Because as soon as you say to Sue, we had a great conversation on Monday night, Sue was looking at you like, we didn't go out on Monday night. And you say, sure we did. And your birthday was October 19th. Remember we talked about it? And Sue was like, my birthday is May 2nd, not October 19th. Now you have some issues because I don't know too many women who like getting their information mixed up with another woman. I have great self-esteem now. Now, there might have been a time my self-esteem was low, but it definitely isn't now. And I know for sure, I need you to know my name is Andrea. I need you to know where I come from, where I live, what are things about my life, and for sure that my birthday is September 30th. I do not need you mixing up any of that information with someone else. Otherwise, I'm going to stop talking to you. And that's what I essentially said to him. There's no way. You could not remember just from me talking to you right now in this present moment the information I gave you about Jan, Sue, Lee, and Tony. So how would you remember over the course of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month? You've got to get it confused. And he said there are times that he does make a mix-up, where he does mess up and he'll have to cover his tracks as best he can. If someone catches an attitude or they don't want to be bothered, he just goes ahead and replaces them. And I said, so you keep going through this cycle of replacement when you could be giving away or running off the very person who is meant to be with you. Now, we all know that we talk about soulmates and people. I honestly believe that, and this is my thinking, and of course, I want to hear your messages. Send me your messages on this. I do believe that we have more than one person that's for us. Out of 8 billion people, only one person for you? I don't believe that. I just believe it depends on where you are in life and where you meet them and if they're prepared to be in that position. I believe that there are people that we were supposed to be with, and for whatever reason, it didn't work out, whether it was me, whether it was them, and we went our separate ways, and then we moved on. We grew up more, we matured more, we learned more, we lived more, and then we ran into someone else who was there for us during that time. But I really believe because of that, there is more than one person for us. However, if you get your stuff together and that person has their stuff together, I believe that someone can be meant for you from the time you meet all the way until death do you part. I do believe in that connection, because even as we meet people and they're good people that are good for us, there are some people who stand out. There are those people who your heart just beats and races fast in your mind. I don't think that soulmate, I don't believe there is more than one soulmate. I do believe there is more than one person for you that's good for you, that will do well with you. However, that soulmate, you have soulmates as friends, soulmates as relatives, soulmates in relationships. I don't necessarily believe that there's more than one soulmate for you, because this person just meshes and matches and just, I don't see that happening. You know, as I've dated, I'm just going to be transparent, and I apologize in advance to anybody whose toes I step on. I've dated, and there have been people who stuck out in my mind and in my heart more than anybody else, that I felt such a strong connection with, that there's nobody that can match that. I don't think that more than one person can give you that. I don't even know how to describe it. We tried to talk about it last year when we were really doing a self-evaluation of ourselves. We tried to talk about it, but there's this thing that one particular person will have that just, it's magical. I can't even describe it. It's like a connection and a chemistry and a fire and desire thing that you have with this one person, that no matter how much you may love someone else, you just never have that thing. And I don't know what that thing is. I don't know what word it is. I don't know how to describe it. Just to say it's magical. It's something that you just, it's fire and desire for a person. I don't believe you can have that with more than one person. I have heard it told by people who have experienced it. They've had it with that one person, and other people they're good with, but they don't have that zing, that zest, that je ne sais quoi of a person with anybody else, that thing. One day I will learn what that thing is. I cannot describe it, but I do understand it. Where you can connect with someone and be friends with that person and build a relationship with that person and be attracted to that person and have a great chemistry with that person, a great connection with that person, but yet it's still missing that fire and desire. I'm going to keep saying that because I don't know what else to call it. It's something that meshes physically, spiritually, organically, sexually, intimately, intellectually, every that you could think of. It just touches and it's nothing like it. I believe only one person has that for you. You have that for that one person. And it's something when your oomph meets the person who makes you oomph and you connect. That's like orbits or planets colliding. It's like a big bang. It's huge and monumental. And I think we look for that. And when we don't find it, it kind of makes us feel like we need to settle. When we feel like it's unattainable. I'm sorry, I was about to put 3 words together. When we feel it's unattainable, we get disheartened, and sometimes we settle for the next best thing. I'm not saying hold out for the fire desire if that's not what you're supposed to do, but don't settle for the bottom of the barrel either, just because you didn't find that fire and desire, okay? That's what I'm saying. But anyway, let's take it back to relationships. So, this is relationship, but where I left off. So, I believe he was giving away or running off people who might have been the one for him. And it leads us to talk about being ready. There are a lot of people who are single, who are looking for people, but are they really ready to be in a relationship? Well, now you have to define what a relationship means to you and what kinds of relationship are you looking for. There are people who are dating with the intent to marry. There are people who are dating that are serial daters. They're never going to commit. They're just dating to get to know people. There are people who are dating for a relationship or companionship that's lifelong because they never want to get married again. They don't want to have children. They've been there, done that, or it's something that never interested them. So the first thing you need to do is to figure out what it is you want. And I'm going to be honest with you. When I was going through I want to be married. No. I take that back. When I wanted to be in a relationship after the 2008 to 2016, 8 years of nothingness, I was like, I just want to be in a relationship now. I'm tired of being by myself. I want to hang out with somebody. I want to go to places. I want to chill, that kind of thing. I had to really take a look at what I wanted when I ran into someone to date, and he could have been a companion. He was a companion. I could hang out with him and chill, but there was no connection. There was no chemistry. It was just, okay, you're here, I'm here. You want a relationship, I want a relationship. Let's date. Let's be in a relationship, a monogamous relationship. And it wasn't fulfilling. Intellectually, I was left starving. Spiritually, I was left starving. I was starving in a relationship. And it's because I did not specify to myself, let alone God, what I was looking for. I said, I want to be in a relationship. Well, that's great, but what kind of relationship, Andrea? Did you want a friendship? Did you want, we're going to keep it 100 here. Do you want a lover? Do you want a companion? Do you want someone that you're going to build with? Someone that you're going to be with for 50, 60, 80 years? What is it exactly that you're looking for? Well, I never answered any of those questions. I just said I was tired of being alone. I was tired of feeling lonely. Be careful of looking for or opening yourself up to relationships just because you feel alone or just because you feel lonely. You will accept anything in order to not be alone, to not feel lonely, and that's not right. You were meant to have someone that compliments you. I do not mean the compliments with the I where they tell you you're beautiful. I mean compliments with the E because they're on your level or above or right around, and they're building you up and you're building them up, and you mesh together. You meld well. And so you have to understand what it is you're looking for. If you're lonely, now comes the practice of learning to like being by yourself. Boy, did I have a tough time with that. And it's crazy because I love being by myself. I have no problem with it until it dawns on me I'm not in a relationship. All my life, I've loved being by myself. I've had friends, I've had associations, and I was always like the life of the party. I made myself that. But when I got home behind closed doors, I was an introvert. I could stay to myself all day, all night, all week and be fine. And then I would have that realization, hey, let me go out and have some fun. Let me be with my friends. Let me be with my family. I miss them. And I'm the extrovert, the center of attention, life of the party. Okay, I really was not the center of attention. We all were the centers of attention. But we had a great time. And then 2 days, 3 days of that, I'm back hiding out for a week and a half, 2 weeks. And that's real. And it was good with me because I actually like me. I can entertain myself very well. There are many things I like doing. Reading, watching television, baking. I love those things. I like writing. I love that. I love just sitting and thinking and journaling. I like that. I like coloring. Okay, don't laugh at me, but I really do. I mean, I have many ways of entertaining myself, and I'm good with being by myself. And I was good with being by myself until I thought of, I don't have anybody that I can call when I just want to talk. Or I'm hurting right now. Whose shoulder can I place my head on? Or I've had a big victory, a big win. Who's there to celebrate with me? And it was at that moment, those moments, where I felt alone and little. You know, you don't realize how big the world is until you start looking at it from the eyes of I'm all alone. And the world is huge and you're as small as a little ant. That's what it felt like. And so I got into this thing of I don't want to be alone. That was my prayer to God. Lord, I don't want to be alone. I want to be in a relationship because I don't want to be alone. I thought about the future. I don't want to grow old alone. I don't want to be like people that I know that have gotten older and they had nobody in their lives and they died alone and really just didn't have anybody to be there with them when their final stages. And Lord, I don't want that to be my story. I don't like that. So Lord, I don't want to be alone. Can you send me somebody? Because I don't want to be alone. That became my mantra. And it happened that I wasn't alone. I met someone, but like I said to you, I was starving. I was starving intellectually. There's nothing like trying to have a conversation and the person is just not there with you. You're talking about maybe what's going on in the world and they have no clue. You may be talking about your deepest fear and they're just looking at you like, oh, so you want a burger? So it wasn't a match. And so once that ended, then I was like, maybe I'll change what I want. Maybe it's not a relationship. Can I be transparent with you without judgment? And even if you judge, tune in next week. We'll forgive each other. No. But my desire now changed because I had the relationship and I didn't like it. So I was like, maybe I'm not meant to be in a relationship. Maybe I just need that cup buddy. Maybe I just need that side piece. Maybe I just need that booty call. Maybe I just need that person that's just gonna itch my scratch. Scratch my itch. Maybe that's all I'm supposed to have because I tried the relationship thing. That didn't work. I've been married and divorced twice. that didn't work. So maybe I, ran out of my things with God. Maybe, I've done it all. He's like, oh, baby, you did this. Now go and be free because there ain't no more for you. So then, and the crazy thing is, God bless my sister, because I would tell her all of this. Every other day it'd be something. And I know she was like, oh my gosh, this child is definitely going crazy. She definitely is tripping right now. Because one day I want a relationship. The next day I just want somebody to scratch that itch. Thank you. The next day I'm like, but I need a friend. Then I want somebody to chill with. And then I want a relationship. Then I need my itch scratched. And I know she was just like, oh, please help her. So I went through a thing where, and yes, I'm a woman of God. And that's why I'm telling you, I'm being honest with you. I don't want to lie to you and have you thinking that there's people who don't think these things, because I did. And so now I'm like, okay, now I need to find the itch scratcher because the relationship didn't work. Well, that didn't work either. And so then I was like, okay, I'm calling my sister again. Okay. Relationship didn't work, and I'm really not successful with this itch scratching thing. It's not working. And so now I need the friend companion, the one I could chill with and hang with and call, and we can laugh and we could talk or whatever. Okay. So now that's what I want. So now I'm starting to meet people, and now I'm putting them, I'm looking at them like, can you just be that friend that chill? I don't want any relationships. I want no ties to you. I just want you to be my friend. And when I call you, then we hang. And the funny thing is that someone who had been in my life before, who had hurt me before, materialized again and had been my friend. And so when they materialized, I was like, this is it. I've got my friend back. Okay, cool. I can call. But it was so different. The friends we had been in our 20s, it wasn't working out for the stage that we were in at that point. And I still found myself starving. Not intellectually, because we could talk about anything. And I was just like tired of talking too. We could talk about things spiritually, but we had no connection. There was nothing else. Yeah, I said I wanted a friend that I could hang with and chill with, but it was like pulling teeth to get him to go anywhere. And I was like, but I want to go here. I want to go there. And let's do this and let's do that. And it was just like, no, let's just talk. I am going through some things and I need your ear. And there was nothing wrong with that. But I wanted more than that. Even though I said I wanted the intellectual, deep, spiritual conversations, but I also wanted the friend that I could hang with, chill with, and that wasn't happening. And so here I go back to my sister. Okay. Relationship didn't work. Getting an itch scratch, that didn't work. And no, nothing like that. And now the friendship, companionship is not working. So I was like, I don't know what I want. It seems like everything I say I want is not working for me. So I don't know what to ask for next. Should I get general again? Am I being too specific? And I know, again, she was probably pulling her hair out. But she let me get it all out and everything. And so then I was like, I'll get back with you. Let me see what I want now. And then it was a matter of, Andrea, listen, boo. Before God sits you down again for 8 years, what is it that you really, really want? And I said, I want to be loved. Genuinely. I want genuine love. I want to feel affection and attention. I want to be cherished. And I want to do the same for him. I don't want to have to compete with anybody else. I don't want to have to play games. I don't want to worry. Are you doing what you say you're doing? I'm not that chick that's going to be dressed all in black and come to your house and knock your windows out your car. I'm not that chick anymore. Not going to say I never was that chick, but I'm not that chick anymore. I'm not checking for your phone. I'm not checking your emails. I'm not checking your social media. We're not playing those games. You're not bringing no stuff to me. I'm not bringing any stuff to you. I need to trust you. You need to trust me. And do that. And so I was getting more and more specific with what I really wanted. I want a man that loves God and worships God, because God is the head of my life, and I cannot turn my light out for anybody. And so the more specific I got, I want a man that prays, that can cover me in prayer, because I get tired. I want a man that's strong, because I'm tired of being the strength all the time. I want a man that's a man, because I'm tired of being the man in a lot of my relationships. I'm tired of being the heavy. I'm tired of being the one that has to have depends on me, because I can't depend on you. And the more time went on, the more I just kept adding to. And I was meeting people and linking up with people, and it would never really be a match. There would be some things they had, and a lot that they would, some things they would be lacking. Like, just everything would be, how you see the menu, and the menu would be beautiful, and just when you're like, I want that entree right there, this is something that you don't want. And it's like, ugh. And I went on like that. And then my girlfriends and I started having conversations, like real talk. We're getting older now, and we do want what we want. And why, even though we live in Atlanta, Georgia, where there's 25 women to one man, can we not get what we want? Why should we have to settle? Why can't I have a gentleman, an old school cat, and not be old? Because, okay, now let's be clear, Andrea did not want some things. I didn't want an older guy, older, because that reminds me of my dad. And that's not attractive to me. I have never been that chick that liked older guys. My friends and my sister will tell you that. I've always been right around my age, no more than 5, maybe 6 years older than me, maybe seven, maybe. And my age, or no more than 4 years younger, 5 years younger, because my whole thing was, when I talk about Biggie Smalls, I need you to understand that I could either be talking about the Notorious B.I.G. or I could be talking about the character from Uptown Saturday Night. And I need you to know both. You know what I'm saying? And also, I love hip hop. So if you're much older than me, you might not like hip hop. If that's not your thing, I'm not trying to listen to Johnny Mathis. Yeah, I grew up listening to him. That was cute. But I might want to listen to some Jodeci. I might want to listen to some Keith Sweat. I might want to listen to some New Edition. I might want to listen to some Humpty. I might want to listen to some KRS-One, Rakim, Method Man, Big Daddy Kane, Heavy D, Salt and Pepper. I need you, MC Light, Queen Latifah. I need you to be able to be on that level. So you're not looking at me like, oh my gosh, it's juvenile. And I wanted someone who loved God, but wasn't so heavenly bound he was no earthly good. Like, don't judge me because I might wear stilettos tonight, or I might wear a shorter skirt showing more leg, or some of my cleavage may be showing. I'll dress appropriately, but allow me to have my sexy moments, because I'm having them for me and for you. You understand what I'm saying? I didn't want someone who was so into it that if a curse word popped out of my mouth, he's over there throwing holy water on me. So I didn't want that either. But I wanted someone who had respect for God, love for God, and to know God is number one, and I will never walk away from him. Do you understand that I've been through the trials of everything, and God has been there for me, and I'm not turning away from that. And I'm a minister, and I will minister the word as God directs me. I will preach when he tells me to. I will teach when he tells me to. I will encourage when he tells me to. So I needed someone to understand that and not judge it and not try to pull me away from it. Because I've had people in my life who have said, oh, I don't like dating ministers or church girls, because, you're going to mess up my flow. And so I needed somebody to be good with who I was. First, I had to be good with myself. And in 2020, it became my mission to find out who exactly Andrea was. At one point of my life, I was a rascal, rebellious, hard-headed. I was in the world. Boy, was I in the world. Another part of my life, I was sold out to God. I did nothing. I didn't listen to secular music. I didn't drink. I didn't curse. I didn't mix in certain company. I didn't do anything. I was all God all the time. Can I be honest with you? Neither side felt right. Neither side felt right. It felt like I was living, but I wasn't being authentically me. And I remember God telling me, I brought you out of the world, but I didn't erase you from the world, because there are things you learned in the world that I need you to bring on the battlefield for the kingdom. There's some people I need you to go to. There's some stories I need you to tell. There's some people who will understand what you went through, and you won't judge them because you went through them. So I had to learn that both sides are Andrea. Now we need to pull them together, meld them together to make who I am supposed to be. And I'm still working on that. But in 2020, it became important for me to understand my two sides. So how was I going to ask someone to love me and I didn't even know who I was fully? Well, a relationship, or the beginnings of dating, because it wasn't a relationship yet, came into play, and I realized I wasn't ready. The person wanted marriage immediately, and I was not ready to be someone's wife. I wasn't ready to give up my independence. I wasn't ready to cook and clean for somebody else and be under their thumb, because they were remember I had prayed for a strong man, and they were very domineering, dominant, and I am a dominant woman. And so there was a lot of friction because I was not ready to submit, because that's not the submission I wanted. And so that relationship didn't work. And so this wasn't 2020, this was before 2020. And so I kept working on myself. And then when 2020 did come, or 2019, I met someone else, and again, they were ready for marriage. And I'm like, what is wrong with y'all people? I don't mean to say it like that, but I was like, wait. What happened to being friends and getting to know each other and liking each other and dating each other and being in a relationship, a monogamous relationship, and growing together for some time, and then let's see where it goes? Why are you so ready to get married right now? I can't give up my independence right now. Not like that. I'm not ready to, okay, you move in with me, we get married, you move in with me, and this is my schedule, and build your schedule around mine. Hello, I'm a playwright. Hi, I'm a director and producer. Hi, I'm a writer. Hello, I'm an author. Hi, I'm a life coach. Hello, I'm a minister. Hey, I'm a mom. Hi, I'm a child. I'm a daughter. I'm a sibling. You understand? There are other things in my life we've got to work around and work together. We can't just jump into something, because I can't put my life on hold. I've done that before. I've done that because of fear, and I've done that because of a relationship. Put my life on hold, and I promised myself I would never put myself on hold for anybody again. And so when this came, I was like, okay, Lord, listen, wait a minute. This is not what I prayed for. I remember saying, I want levels to this. I want steps to this. And so it was funny because it was like a thought dawned on me. I'm not even sure if it was God or if it was Andrea. Well, if this is not what you prayed for, what are you in it for? And I had to think, and I was like, oh, you're right. I didn't pray for this. This isn't it. This isn't what I needed to look like. And I'm sharing this with you because you have to know, just because someone comes to you, everybody who comes to you is not sent by God to you. Everybody who fits some things and fits the mold are not the people that are going to be your life mate, your life partner, your spouse, your husband, your soulmate. So you have to be clear on who you are, what you want. So when they come, you can say, wait a minute. This isn't it. Because A, I didn't ask for this. B, this is not the right time for this. C, they're not matching. Yeah, they're saying the right things, but their actions are not lining up. And I'm glad that, I don't know if it was God or Andrea, I'm going to be honest with you, but I'm glad for that information so that I didn't go too deep into it, because I was like, this is not it. Even though there's some great things, this is not what I asked for. And so I still began to work on myself and continue getting to know myself. And I want to share this with you, that you have to work on yourself and get to know who you really are, so that you're ready when the opportunity comes. Because the person who is called for you is going to come. But be ready to welcome them in. Don't push people away without getting to know who they are, because you haven't prepared. See, I remember God telling me to prepare to be a wife, prepare to be in a relationship. What are things that you need to do? And I started looking to friends that were in relationships, friends who were married, in order to get some information. Yes, I had been married before, but my marriages were not real. They were not true. My first marriage, I never lived with my husband. We said I do, and he shipped off to Okinawa. We never lived together. We never stayed together as man and wife. So I didn't know what that was like. And we were divorced or separated a year, 6 months, a year later. My second marriage wasn't a real marriage. I was doing things, but it wasn't real because of the issues that we had in that marriage. And so I did not know how to be a wife. So why would I pray, Lord God, send me my husband, and I had no information, because I knew I would mess up. Now, I did have my mother to look at. She and my dad were married until he passed away. I had my great aunts to look at. They all were married, and death did them part. So I did have information. My aunt, she was married. I had her to look at until death did they part. And so I had some information, but there were some things, because that was a different generation. My mother is not my generation. My great aunts were not my generation. My aunt was not my generation. So I needed to know what marriage looked like for my people, my generation, my girls, my friends. What is it? Because things that were happening in the 70s or 80s, it's not what's happening now. So I needed some examples before I could say, this is what I want. And I'm grateful that God said, get prepared. Prepare yourself. Be prepared. And so I would look at friends who were married. And then I had friends who were married that were Christians. I had friends who were married that were not Christians. I looked at all of it to see what was happening. And I asked questions. I don't know how many times I've called my best friend up and said, so in your marriage, da-da-dee-da-da-da. Or my cooster, my best friend, cousin, sister. I got that word from one of my friends. I love it. I would be like, when you don't see eye to eye about this, how do you figure it out? I asked and I watched. I have two friends that I've known for a very long time, who have been single for a long time. And I celebrated when they got married, because I know their stories. And so I know that we're on the same level with love and learning and being in the Christian walk and all these things. So I would watch and I would ask and I would just look at and see what they were posting and what was going on. So that way I could have ideas. So prepare yourself. to be in a place you want to be in a relationship. If you want to be a companion and that's it, prepare for that. Don't prepare to be a wife if you only want to be a companion. Likewise, don't prepare to be a companion if you want to be a wife. If you're just trying to have a lover, there's no need for you to prepare to be a wife. So know what it is you want. I went back and forth from 2016 or 2014 until 2019, because it was at that point where I was like, I know what I want. Those things I prayed to God for and said I wanted, I really do want them. The reason why I changed my mind was because I wasn't finding it, and I was settling for anything I got because I did not want to be alone. So I had to be honest in 2019 and said, you know what, Andrea, what you prayed for is what you wanted. That's exactly what you wanted. Now go back and put that back where it belongs. That's your goal. And I told my sister, I may go back and forth a million times, but this is really what I want. I really want to be in a secure relationship, a monogamous relationship where we get to build together, get to know each other, and eventually get married. It's what I want. That's it. And that's what I want. Still to this day, it's not changing because I've wanted that my whole life. But I was willing to settle for what I got because I didn't want to be lonely or alone anymore. There were so many heartbreaks I had been through that I didn't even think I was worth more than a booty call or a side piece, a guy on the side to do whatever, or a friend or someone to hang out with, because I've been battered mentally and emotionally, not physically, in relationships, and I didn't feel like I deserved more than that. So I had to have God's help to work on me and see what I needed, see what I deserved, see what I needed to do to come out of feeling like I deserved dirt when I deserved the crown. You understand? So I'm saying this to you. You're looking for a relationship. You're single and you want a relationship. Determine what kind of relationship you want. Determine who you are. Who are you now today? Because who I was in 2000 is not who I was in 2019 when I determined what I wanted. You have to know who you are. Are you preparing for what you want? Are you preparing to be a girlfriend? Are you preparing to be a fiance? Are you preparing to be a wife? Are you preparing to be a helpmeet? Are you preparing to be a friend? Because even in friendship, that takes a lot. So you have to be prepared for the position that you want. And then know what it is that you want so you can recognize it when it comes and turn it away when it's not what you wanted. We cannot change anyone. If you see warning signs and flags, red flags on a person, please know that no matter how much you love them, how good you are, how kind you are, until they are ready to change, they will not change. So if he comes to you as a booty call, boo, I don't care how well you throw it on him, you are not going to be wife material to him. Not now, until he is ready to change. You can't do anything to make that man, make that woman change until they are ready. So what you do is to have standards. And I used to hate saying that, like, oh gosh, I sound so oof. But you have to have standards. You have to, and I don't mean the checklist. Not the he's 6'10", 300 pounds, chocolate with wavy hair, and his right eye curled, eyelashes curled this way, and his left eye eyelashes curled that way. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, what do you want him to bring to the table? And then what do you bring to the table? Because you do understand a relationship is 100-100. You are to give 100% of yourself. They are to give 100% of their selves, right? That's the goal. Now, we don't always meet the goal. Sometimes you get 80%. Sometimes you get 20%. We know the 80-20 rule. However, what you are asking them to do, are you willing to do it? I remember someone asking me that in that same group where we were talking. You want this guy to be like a Prince Charming. You want him to open your doors. You want him to surprise you with gifts whenever, or take out the trash without asking, or washing your car and filling up your tank and fixing things and all of this. You want all of that. Then what are you doing? And I politely said, whatever he likes. And they fell out laughing. But my whole point in saying that was, I bring things to the table. I can cook, I can clean. Well, okay, he probably can do that too. But I can make him feel like a man, and I don't mean in the bedroom. Cater to the person you're with. Make them feel special. In order to do that, you need to understand what it is they want, what it is they need. See, I was very articulate with what I wanted because it's what I want. So now, by the same token, I need the man to let me know what it is that he wants, and I can determine, yeah, I can do that. Okay. Because every person is different. I get so sick and tired of people who refuse to change when they get into a new relationship. She or he is not the same person you were with 5 years ago, a year ago, 3 months ago. They're not that same person. So learn who you're with. Just because Bobby liked his back rubbed doesn't mean Rodney's going to want his back rubbed. He might want his feet rubbed. Now, if you're a female like me who does not like touching feet, that might be an issue. Unless you have on gloves and 5 pair of gloves and paper clips on your nose. But at least now, this is why you get to know each other, to see if you are able to give the person what they need and what they want, what they require. This is why timing is so important. You may not like snoring, so the person you with snores. What are you going to do? Are you going to divorce them because they snore? These are things you need to find out in the beginning. Ask questions. And then what about the way that maybe they don't like to be, help me, Holy Spirit, conversations you need to have, because maybe there's a thing that you do or don't do and they want you to. Will you be willing to compromise, or is it a deal breaker for you? See, these are conversations and things you need to know going in, so you don't waste each other's time, and so that you know and they know what they're getting ahead of time. Don't lie. Don't try to be what you're not, because the truth is going to come out. And unfortunately, I have seen relationships and marriages break up because the representative was there for a while, and the representative, our fake selves, the selves we pretend to be, the selves that make us look better to people, that can only last a certain amount of time, and the real you come out. And people in this stage of life are getting to a place where they don't have tolerance for that. You pretended to be this person, well, bye-bye. I'm going to find the person I'm looking for. And so I'm saying this to you. Take the time in your singleness to find out who you are, what you want for real, what you can compromise on, what your standards are, what you will not compromise. And then as people come, you can say, it's not a fit, and I don't have to settle. Don't fear being alone and lonely. There are 8 billion people, boo. They may not be in Atlanta where you live. They may not be in the United States of America where you are. You could be on vacation to Jamaica and run into someone who lives down the block. And all that time you never knew they were there. But now you meet, now you fall in love. You know what I mean? So be open to being open. Thank you, Holy Spirit. That's the best way to say it. But it all starts with knowing who you are and knowing for real what you want. If there are any areas that need to be healed in your life, if there's any pains, if there's any hurts, if there are any heartbreaks, take your time and work on those. Don't worry about being in a relationship right now. Work on you. Be in a relationship with yourself to heal, to get better, to become one with yourself. So that way, when you're whole, you can meet a whole person and the two wholes will become one. You don't want to be half. You don't want half. You want a whole healed person. Are we ever 100% healed? No. But be healed in the areas and get help where you need to be healed in other areas. I hope I'm clear with that. There's no perfect person. See, that's what I mean when I say, is anyone ever 100%? Then you would be perfect. There are some things that are going to stick with you. But how do you respond to those things? How do you behave when those things happen? If they bother you to a point where you have to sit in a corner, you're not healed. But if a situation comes up and it reminds you of what you've been through, and you don't spaz out, you're just like, okay, this is something to keep in mind, you're healed. Okay, now you can move on. I hope I make sense with that. I think I'm going to talk about that next week, being healed. But I just wanted to share that with you because there are some people who are going into relationships that are still hurt, that are broken, that are bruised, that are abused. They haven't healed yet. And they should not be in a relationship, but they don't want to be alone. They don't want to be lonely. They want to take their minds off of the pain. And they want someone to comfort them when they need God to comfort them. And they need to comfort themselves at that point. Because hurt people do hurt people. And it's sad to see how someone with good intentions gets hurt and then begins hurting someone else. That's sad. I've seen it over and over and over again, unfortunately. Heal. That's my advice to you. Heal first. But I thank you so much for listening in today. I know I've been all over the place, but I just wanted to share with you about relationships. We'll get deeper into it. There are things that I want to talk about that I didn't want to put into this podcast. So that's why I kind of jumped a little bit over things that I want to share more deep. I want to share more deeply with you. More deeply is not it. I want to share in a deeper fashion with you at a different time. So thank you. I kind of try to gloss over different things so you would get an idea. And if you're in that position of anything that I mentioned, that it will help you to get to a better level, to get you to a better understanding, that it really is about you first. That in this self-care that we're doing, that you do need to take care of you and to understand yourself and to like yourself and to love yourself and to let go of some things, some guilt, some disappointments, some hurts before you go to another relationship. That baggage has to be released and removed, okay? I want your best health. I want you to be good, and I want you